Forget all your differences, let we start to build. And onward to progress we surely will. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come let us work hand in hand, because this is our land. Come my brother, come my sister, and let us build a nation together.
Come, my brother, come, my sister, and let us build Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique together. I want to welcome you to the Dynamic Hour. Again, another opportunity that you and I have to talk about what's happening here in Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. Those on Facebook and YouTube, I want to encourage you. Please share the live. Sharing is caring. I want to say to you, as we move towards 2 years of NDC being in power and excelling, delivering in many different ways, the NNP is getting more and more desperate. And they are throwing out a lot of lies out there. With their desperation, it's causing them to mislead the general public. And we need to be on our P's and Q's for that. Because if you repeat lies over and over and over again, after a while, people will start thinking is the truth. So sometimes you have to push back against it. Sometimes you have to lend clarity. You have to explain to people that this is a lie. So I had the opportunity to listen to the main opposition party talk show program last night, right? And in there, the host of that program made certain statements. And one wonders why. Why would you go out there saying things that you know is not true? So, for example, the individual made this statement. So that's the first of two pieces I want to highlight. So he made this first statement here.
One, they remove the commissioner of police. They get rid of the commissioner of police. Because if he's commissioner of police in another place right now, something here had to get, because he would have much preferred to be home among his people. After giving so much a years of dedicated service to Grenada, I don't think he would want to go and end up in Turks and Caicos. So one, they get rid of the head of the police force in Grenada, and they demoted and demoralized several senior members of the Royal Grenada Police Force and junior members as well. So they succeeded in making sure that a significant number of people who have specialist training that they receive in Europe, in North America, in South America, etc., that can be used to keep the people of Grenada safe and secure, that those people have left the Royal Grenada Police Force and gone about their business. So that is one of the successes, that they have been able to cleanse the Royal Grenada Police Force of anybody that they don't like. Some others holding on still.
Right. So he was listing some of the achievements of the NDC. And he said, he used words to the effect that they removed the commissioner of police and, demoted some police officers, cleansed some police officers, words to that effect. And you heard him there, right? And he's the main mouthpiece of the opposition forces out there here in Grenada. And I laugh because Edwin Martin himself spoke.
But really this morning is primarily about the retirement of Commissioner Edwin Martin. I want to start by publicly thanking him for his long and distinguished career as a police officer.
Commissioner Edwin Martin also served as Prime Minister of the Association of Caribbean Commissioner of Police for 3 of his 5 years as Commissioner. He said the decision to retire was made in consultation with his family.
I want to make it abundantly clear, Prime Minister, on this platform, and I'm happy to have had the opportunity to do so, to make it clear to members of the public that my departure from the RGPF is on my own choosing, and after consultation with my family, it is my deliberate decision to retire at this point in time. And there are no other influencing factor to cause or promote that decision. So I have heard the discussions in the public sphere with all sorts of nuances, innuendos, and suspicions as to why Commissioner is departing at this point in time. I just want to make it absolutely clear. It is my own deliberate decision in consultation with my family at this point in time.
Right. So, so that's Edwin Martin there, the former Commissioner of Police. All right. So you heard the former Commissioner of Police explain in detail why he's moving on. He served for 30 odd years and he's moving on. But on that particular program, the main opposition force in the country, their program, the main mouthpiece for that program said the following.
1, they remove the Commissioner of Police. They get rid of the Commissioner of Police. Because if he's Commissioner of Police in another place right now, something here had to get, because he would have much preferred to be home among his people. After giving so much years of dedicated service to Grenada, I don't think he would have wanted to go and end up in Turks and Caicos. So 1, they get rid of the head of the police force in Grenada, and they demoted and demoralized several senior members of the Royal Grenada Police Force and junior members as well. So they succeeded in making sure that a significant number of people who have specialist training that they receive in Europe, in North America, in South America, etc., that can be used to keep the people of Grenada safe and secure, that those people have left the Royal Grenada Police Force and gone about their business. So that is one of the successes, that they have been able to cleanse the Royal Grenada Police Force of anybody that they don't like. Some others.
Right. So that's the mouthpiece for the main opposition force in the country. But you heard from Edwin Martin the reason why he decided to retire and move on. It was a personal thing. He consulted with his family and he decided to move on after giving so many years of service. But who is this guy to go on that particular program? Because he hosts that program for the main opposition force here in Grenada. To say otherwise, it's sad because there are people who are listening to the guy. That's the sad part. But you remember when Willan Thompson, this guy here, was transferred, removed as Commissioner of Police because a certain man couldn't work with him when he came into office in 2013 and moved to the Parliament as the Clerk of Parliament, and some other senior officers were also moved. Smith Roberts, Belfon, Dumba Belfon. There was a Bartholomew guy who they moved to the Bacolet Center, Education, then Bacolet Center. Remember the hierarchy, some of those folks at the top within the RGPF?
If your house is barricaded, would you not call the police and ask the police to remove those that are barricaded in your house?
Right, this guy, you remember this guy? He was Commissioner of Police, appointed by the Public Service Commission. And when the NNP came into office, they transferred him. They removed him as Commissioner of Police and transferred him to the Parliament as the Clerk of Parliament. That's the facts. That's the facts.
Would you want to be held hostage in your own house?
The action at the breweries came into sharp focus during yesterday's press conference.
Right. So I wanted to show you the other officers because in that said video, you have the other officers there coming to the end of that video.
If your house is
So I wanted to show
During
you
yesterday's press conference,
these officers, right? There was another gentleman, I think it was Belfon. Bartholomew. I just forget his first name, right? I think it's two brothers. I just forget his first name. Something Bartholomew. He was actually moved to the Bacolet Center. I don't know if he's still there or if he retired, that kind of thing. Because they were moved from the Royal Grenada Police Force to all different places within government. So this guy talking about moving and demoralizing and demoting and so on. During the NNP time, right, Dowling Bartholomew, that was his name. Thank you. Dowling Bartholomew. So he was moved to, I think, the Bacolet Center in is it Munich or how do you call that area? Munich, I think, or Grand Bacolet. I think that's the name of the area. Something like that, right? And then you had Dunbar. Someone is saying it's Dunbar Bartholomew, right? And don't know. I think it's Dowling Bartholomew and Dunbar Belfon. So it's two brothers, I think. So they were actually moved. And Smith Roberts, he left and went to Canada eventually, right? And I mean, these are seasoned police officers. They were at the rank of assistant commissioner of police and superintendent of police. And then you had the commissioner of police. So this guy is out there saying these things, and you wonder, because there are people who listen to his program, those NNP supporters, and they take this thing thinking that it's the truth. And then you had Fleming, right? I forget Fleming's first name. Fleming was in immigration, right? Fleming was the head of immigration. And you know what happened to him? And we can go on to some other officers within the Royal Grenada Police Force during the time of the Keith Mitchell-led administration and what they did to them. We can go to others. I know of other police officers who were transferred into all different areas within government because they thought that they were not supportive, right? So Godfrey Fleming, they were not supportive of the NNP. Then you had Senate Joseph. Senate Joseph, he too was transferred and placed in all kind of areas, right? So look, John Fleming, Godfrey Fleming, all right. So, but I am saying they did all of that during that period. The same commissioner of police today was also removed from the police force, transferred to the prison, removed from the prison, and placed on the port. So a lot happened within that time of the NNP. But these people have no shame. So this guy is on a program talking about the removed commissioner of police. And then you get the commissioner of police then saying, no, they did not remove me. This was a personal decision. I spoke to my family and I decided to retire at this age and that kind of stuff. The guy cleared the air up. Then he spoke about who leaving and who they transfer and who they move and who. But I give you a list of police officers under the NNP that they did that too. A list. And we can continue that list. But that's how they function. They do X, Y, and Z, that's bad, and then they come back and they try to attach it to another government with the hope that it will stick. That's how they function. That's how they have always functioned. But for me, I am about facts. I am about putting the facts on the table. I'm not about hearsay and them say and she say. You remember the police officers who also took the commissioner of police to court. I think it was Winston James at the time who was commissioner of police. He came back to act, I think, right? When they removed Willan Thompson. Or he was there a little before and some police officers took him to court and took the government to court. I think that matter was in the court for quite a while. All right. So that too, I think I can get evidence of that too, you know. It might be somewhere wrong here.
The application requesting leave was considered necessary in order to file for a judicial review of the recent promotions within the Raw Grenada Police Force. These officers are challenging the recent promotions.
Yeah, and all these officers to date, they are either inspector of police or assistant superintendent of police. All right, the officers who actually took the matter to court.
As it is felt that they should have been eligible for upward movement, the team of defense lawyers led by Solicitor General Dwight Hosford was today able to persuade the court that the officer's application for leave to pursue the matter was flawed on the grounds of procedural deficiencies.
Well, judicial review is a peculiar form of court action. What it does, it asks the High Court to review or examine the process by which a public authority like the Commissioner of Police, like the Public Service Commission, would have undertaken to arrive at a decision regarding some person or some person's benefit. So the rules attending this peculiar form of action require that you come to the court for permission because you have to show that there's an arguable case that the court should look into. Their application for leave this afternoon, as I indicated, was stillborn, meaning it can't go anywhere because there were some problems with it.
Mr. Hosford anticipates that their next move will be to put forward a constitutional motion.
Well, let me tell you what is the net effect of today's proceedings. The net effect of today's proceedings is that there is no longer any application against the Commissioner of Police and the Public Service Commission regarding any complaint about promotion as it stands now, because they withdraw their own application having regard to the problems they have with it. However, we expect them to come again because in substance the complaint on their papers tends to suggest that they are heading in the direction of a constitutional claim, claim that a provision of the Constitution that protects against discrimination has been infringed. That is what they allege. So we anticipate they will come in that direction as well, and we are prepared for that.
Attorney-at-law Alban John, who represents the disgruntled officers, spoke of their next course of action.
This is an application that was not necessary, the court held, and we will just proceed with the substantive claim straight ahead. It's just a breach of a provision in the Constitution. The provision is that people of like standing should not be treated differently. And if you are, then you are discriminated against.
Colin Campbell, GBN News.
Right. So glad I had that piece there somewhere about because it's so important to put the facts on the table because this program is about facts. You have the opposition forces out there misleading the public and just lying. When you listen to this guy, you wonder if he's reading, if he's researching, or if he's just saying things for saying things' sake, right? It's slap, and you're just taking the same thing that he's saying and just slap it back in his face with facts, with evidence, right? It's amazing. The government only recently signed an agreement with the police, the welfare arm of the police, to give them increase in their salaries and benefits.
The government of Grenada has signed an agreement with the Royal Grenada Police Force and the Bank and General Workers Union for fringe benefits and salary increases for January 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2025. Labour Commissioner Mrs. Parker Grenade Courtney ratified a collective agreement with the RGPF's negotiating team for fringe benefits in the second round of negotiation. The RGPF negotiating team is an amalgamation of associations representing police officers within the Gazetted Officers Association and the Police Welfare Association.
Right, so again, the facts is on the table. This government has done far more than the previous administration has done for police officers in Grenada. That is why you have so many police stations needing renovation and repairs. That is why you have so many police stations without vehicles and so on and so forth. And this government, they have to come and get the vehicles and also renovate nearly all the police stations in the country. So this government has done way more. And look at the increase the police officers got in their salaries and the fringe benefits and everything like that. They did not get it under the NNP administration, right? So at the end of the day, the facts are on the table. The guy went on to say, well, speak about pension, all right? Because I want to put the facts out there because these guys are out there misleading the public. And remember, he's the main spokesman for the NNP and the opposition forces out there.
But logically, factually, they cannot claim pension. Pension is not an NDC achievement. And when you see people like union leaders making this sort of nonsensical statement that the NDC restore pension, you have to ask yourself, wait, what's going on here? But logically, factually, they cannot claim pension. Pension is not an NDC achievement. And when you see people like union leaders making this sort of nonsensical statement that the NDC restore pension, you have to ask yourself, wait, what's going on here? So a union man and all in this nonsense, but then when it's people like Jude who have to defend the government, they go talk about what the NDC government, the NDC government did not restore pension. Say it with me. Mr. Grimes, say it with me. The NDC did not restore pension. You know that. Say it with me, brother Jude.
Right, so folks, that's the last thing that this guy should be on a program speaking about, because it was the NDC who paid the pensioners their gratuity and their pension. In fact, some analysts believe it is because of the pension issue and other factors that the NNP lost the election, because they did not pay the workers their pension and their gratuity. It's sad because this guy is on speaking so confidently as though he knows what he's talking about. And then you ask yourself, but wait, he said he say to Brian Grimes to say X and say Y. But this is what Brian Grimes had to say after the pension and the gratuity was paid.
This administration must be given tremendous applause and appreciation for the work they have done regarding the payment of the retroactive. Of course, we know about talks about pension reform, but we have ran the first leg and we have ran it well. and hundreds of people, in fact thousands. The whole of Grenada is happy for this because the retirees, they also have families and people are looking on, and I think it does a lot for social and economic justice in this country that the retroactive payment has been made.
It's a joyous occasion for me. It's like a dream come true. I feel it for those senior citizens who for years had to struggle. Some of them had to go through demeaning job that they would have left and had to find ways to survive. So it's really a good feeling for me. It's many prayers answered, and I commend the government for taking that bold initiative to pay the gratuity and pension.
The gratuity and pension was paid, and the NDC administration continue to pay the pension. All right, every month, the pensioners, they collect their pension. Remember before, when the NNP was in power, the pensioners, they were not getting any pension from government. All right, and they never got their gratuity. Some of them retired 8 years, like this lady here. She retired 8 years on without getting her pension. She cried at the end when she received the news of the amount of money that she had to get and that she got from the government of Grenada for in her towards a gratuity or her gratuity and a pension every month.
She see, when I see that figure, she say, you're happy for life. And I want to thank the Prime Minister because he didn't have to do it. I work with him. But I want to thank you that today I am here and I feel happy in my spirit. Very happy. Thank you, thank all of you.
That was an emotional thank you by senior pensioner Bernadette Jeremiah, a former health officer thanking the government of Grenada. Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell handed her retroactive pension payment at a press conference on Wednesday afternoon. Ms. Jeremiah is among the over 500 Grenadians that are eligible to receive their pension payment in the month of November. The Prime Minister told Grenadians in July that the data coming out from the Ministry of Finance is that the retroactive payment is going to be in the region of EC $60 million. However, this has moved up to $75 million.
Now, this is no small feat. The transfer of $44 million from the state to the citizens, and eventually the projections is that as much as $75 million will be transferred from the state to the citizens, is perhaps the single largest transfer of wealth from the government to the citizens in the history of Grenada's post-independence. And so we have to appreciate that it is not just a symbolic gesture, but we are talking here fundamentally about the well-being of our citizens. If people work for 30, 40 years to build the state of Grenada, and we let them retire into poverty, it is the state of Grenada that we are doing a service.
So far, the Ministry of Finance has disbursed a total of $44.1 million to over 300 pensioners, with the remaining persons expected to receive their pension.
Right. So again, the facts. I am putting the facts on the table because you had for many, many years workers protesting because do not forget the reason why the NNP docked the salaries of workers was because they went out there and protested. Never you forget that. They went out there and they protested for their pension and their gratuity. Don't forget that. That is exactly what took place. And when that occurred, then there was some MOU that was signed before. A MOU was signed, And then the workers say, well, you signed the MOU before the election. You say you're going to pay us. You win the election, and you're not paying us our pension or our gratuity. So you tomfooled us. You tricked us. As a result, we're going out on the street and demonstrate. The Grenada Union of Teachers, they went out on the streets and they demonstrated demanding their pension and their gratuity. And as a result, the NNP docked their salaries, took money out of their salaries as a result of that.
President of the Grenada Union of Teachers, Marvin Andal, says teachers are in protest mode as they have already started slow and silent action. The action, which started yesterday, yielded reports of teachers attending classes, administering work, and not uttering a word to students. Andal says this is due to new action taken by teachers as public workers clamor for their 4% salary increase, which was due to them at the end of January 2021.
Grenada Union of Teachers has found it necessary to be engaged in protest action due to the fact that the government has not treated with us properly as it relates to what was agreed to in our collective agreement. And since the 31st of December, we have not been engaged in direct dialogue with the government over this. Unfortunately, a number of pronouncements have been made by various media, and how we treat with the non-payment of the due increase is a matter that we are willing to discuss.
The GUT president says the silence will have a definite effect.
Right, so they had problems, increasing payments, they were not getting the pension, they were not getting so many other things were on the table, right? So many other things were on the table. And that was the order of the day within the country. Grenadians were really fed up every Monday morning. You hear about some protest action, some demonstration, something of that sort. And we saw that over the many years. So the pension was paid. The NDC administration paid the pension and the gratuity to the workers, right? So what's going on with you there? Huh? You could give her trouble, yes? You want to come? Come here. Come sit down with me. Right, so at the end of the day, pension was paid, gratuity was paid, and the workers are happier. The workers are happier because the NDC fulfilled that. But you have the NNP mouthpiece, a surrogate, a pundit. I mean, somebody who is speaking for the opposition forces. When you listen to the guy, you have to wonder whether he knows what he's saying or he's intentionally doing this to cause people to be, thinking differently or to be fooled.
But logically, factually, they cannot claim pension. Pension is not an NDC achievement. And when you see people like union leaders making this sort of nonsensical statement that the NDC restore pension, you have to ask yourself, but wait, what's going on here? So a union man and all in this nonsense, but then when it's people like Jude who have to defend the government, they will talk about, the NDC government. The NDC government did not restore pension. Say it with me. Mr. Grimes, say it with me. The NDC did not restore pension. You know that. Say it with me, brother Jude.
Right. So at the end of the day, that's how they do it on that program. And they do that constantly, every day, every night on that program. And there are people who listen to them. There are people who don't care about the facts. There are people who don't care about the facts. And they throw it out there every night. All right? But the opposition forces generally, they run out of steam. They don't have anything to really beat on because this government is not corrupt. This government is not involved in any wrongdoing. Under the NNP administration, it was always some con man, some crook, some kind of bubble or some kind of thing happening. It's different now. Very, very different. But I am saying, folks, that is what is happening on the other side of the coin. They're all about negativity. They're all about concocting stories, lying, trying to mislead the general public. And that is why I have been talking in recent times about the push to mislead the public, to cause the public to believe that the NDC was elected to fix all the roads in 2 years, to fix all the schools in 2 years, to fix all the police stations in 2 years, to fix all the medical stations and hospitals in 2 years, to employ all the people who are unemployed in the country in 2 years, to make all the people who are temporary or who are not permanent in government permanent in 2 years, to fix the airport in Carriacou in 2 years, to fix the airport at Point Celine in 2 years, to fix the ports, every single problem, all the wooden houses that need repairing, fix everything in 2 years. That is the impression. That is the message the NNP is putting out there. But they were in power for 23 years and a half and they couldn't fix it. They couldn't do it. But lo and behold, the NDC is in power now and they're demanding that the NDC work magic and fix every single thing now, immediately. In fact, we heard last night this ignoramus of a woman. I mean, she's a real shame plate. But she doesn't have a shame plate, right? She's a piece of thing, boy. And that wants the leadership in the country. So we heard from Emlyn Pear, right? Miss Faitlin, what was her name again? Emlyn Pear. We heard Emlyn Pear. And what she had to say just after the election is the same mindset those NNP surrogates and pundits and supporters have.
So I want them that better come real good. Because it's going to be pressure. Come real good. So you must pay pension immediately. You must provide free transport immediately. You must make everybody permanent immediately.
Yeah, you know, it's so shameful, right? And it's a woman who will speak in the parliament and so on and make you believe she has sense. She doesn't have sense. This woman is out there saying, well, you know, you go be pressure boy, you know, NDC in power now, and more or less they're going to take them on. But here it is. She went on to use words to the effect, they must pay pension immediately. They must employ everybody immediately. They must make everybody permanent immediately. That's the mindset. So they have been doing that over the last 23 months, trying to indoctrinate, inculcate this kind of thing in the minds of our people. That the government should fix every single thing now. Fix all the fish markets. Fix all the bus stops and bus terminus. Fix all the roads, all the bridges, everything now. Immediately, that is the mindset that they're trying to create out there. And then you hear them on their programs criticizing the citizenship by investment program. That is how evil these people are, you know. So they want the NDC administration to fix all the schools immediately, to fix all the roads immediately, to fix all the medical stations immediately, to fix all the police stations immediately, to fix all the airports immediately, to employ everybody immediately, to make everybody permanent immediately. But where would the money come from? The money to fix roads and schools and pay salaries and so on, it will come from taxation and also the citizenship by investment program. But they're attacking the citizenship by investment program because they want the program to fail. Because if it fails, then the roads cannot be fixed, then the schools cannot be fixed, then the medical stations cannot be fixed, medicine and so on cannot be provided, workers will not get pay, and that kind of thing. So they know what they're doing. They know fully well what they are doing. And anybody with sense would understand if you listen to their programs, because they are not doing this thing in isolation, you know. No. And nearly all of them are on the same page, the opposition forces, with their podcasts and with their talk show programs, right? Nearly all of them. So you want all of these things to happen. You want the roads to be fixed. You want the schools to be fixed. You want the schools, the roads, the medical station, the police station. We can go on and on and on and on. Where would the money come from? They know that the money eventually will come from the Citizenship by Investment Program. And the Citizenship by Investment Program realized revenue of more than $1 billion EC dollars in 2023. So because of that, they're angry. And I can play you a piece where, I mean, they cussing the program, they're saying all manner of things about the program, right? And they're not doing this thing by guess. They know what they are doing. You hear me? They know fully well what they are doing. They're attacking the program because they believe if they attack it, eventually something will happen. It will fail. All right? That is what they want. That is exactly, I think I have a piece or two somewhere around the place where they're attacking the program. The minute time they hear that the program was successful, trouble starts.
Persuade have said, whether you Chinese, you're Russian, you're African, the first thing and the only thing that this government look at is the human being.
The program is open to everybody. Whether you are Chinese, whether you are Russian, whether you are African. The first thing this administration sees is a human being. I like them.
They want need to ask you a question.
They're good. Yes, Mr. Carr.
How many Palestinians are here presently?
Oh. But I'm not in a position to...
What are the purpose here? What is the purpose of being here?
CBI. But some of them may have come through the CBI. Some of them are merchants, right? And so, right?
So if we follow the money, we go get it.
Definitely.
So they will help me follow the money because you have an affinity for those people, and so I will lead that one up to you. So when we come back here next Sunday, I want you to tell me about if any money pass. And how much money, if money pass, and if yes, how much? And if so, to how much people? And if so, who receiving it? And if so, who having meetings? And if so, is the US monitoring the meetings? I don't know. I leave that homework for you, Devon.
Finish it, Nazi?
No, I just need the passport and thing and all that is passport.
Oh, all that is passport. Okay.
And I want to ask the person in charge of immigration. I know what I'm saying, you know, don't correct me. Let me do my thing for myself.
Immigration.
And passport.
Immigration and passport.
I want to know if any instructions have reached you in reference to Devon friends, the Palestinians. Now, I don't know, and the people tell me to ask that. So I don't know. I'm not a reporter.
Yeah, you know, that's how they do it. That's how they do it. Attack the program, say all kind of stuff about the program. So the Palestinians now, they're injecting that in there as though passports are being sold for the Palestinians. That is what they're doing. They're dangerous. And then the other one spoke about the Russians. That's how they do it. They attack these programs. But mind you, on their program, they would talk about they need roads and schools and this and that. But how do we build those things? Where the money is coming from? From the same program.
And remember, Mr. Nazenberg is a CBI. Brother Naz is a CBI agent now, you know. Yeah. But amongst the CBI agents, that is a cause for concern. They've been speaking about it. Because there can be serious damage while other countries were not taking in people. So you have a CBI program in St. Kitts. They were not taking Russian applicants. Since the war started in the Ukraine, they had cut it off, as Grenada had cut it off at that point in time. On returning to office, this administration reopened taking applications from Russia, where Dominica wasn't doing it, St. Kitts wasn't doing it, St. Lucia wasn't doing it, right? Dominica wasn't doing it. So all these islands in the OECS, they were not taking applications under the CBI program from Russians. Grenada was the only one, so Grenada get all. So if it was a situation where the other islands were doing it, Grenada would not reach $1 billion because they did not have that pipeline of all the Russian people going to.
So you realize the guy is upset that Grenada was able to reach $1 billion or more from the Citizenship by Investment Program in 2023. He's upset. And it's the same kind of thing you get from Keith Mitchell with a number of things. Like they upset, they envious, they jealous. But why would you be upset if we running the program well and we realize such amount of money to build roads, schools, medical stations, and fix police stations and so on to pay salaries and meet commitments? Why? And that is why I say to you, they are not genuine about Grenada. All of them on the opposition side. They are not genuine about the development of Grenada. They want to see bad things happen to Grenada. That is exactly what they want to see. And when you listen to their programs, you will get that sense. And I listen to all those programs. I follow nearly all those programs keenly. And you would get the sense that these people are not genuine about the development of the country. They hate the fact that the economy is being managed well. They hate the fact that no con man, no crook, no fraudster can come through the program and mess up Grenada's image. They hate that. They hate the fact that unemployment is decreasing. They hate the fact that inflation is on the decline. They hate the fact that tourist arrival is on the increase. In fact, I wanted to play a piece from the same Sheldon Scott guy where he was looking at the tourist arrivals, the people who are arriving here. Be glad, not be happy that we are seeing more people arriving in Grenada. It augurs well for vendors and for our government in terms of taxes and so on. But no, they're bitter, they're angry. Why? Why should you be? If you love Grenada so much, why should you be angry and bitter? Come on. We have to move to the next level. Grenada belongs to all of us. We have a stake here. And there are people who are supporting these people, who like the fact that these people are out there making all these misleading statements with the hope that they will damage the image of Grenada. Because that is what they're hoping to do, to damage the good image of Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. And they're working overtime to achieve that. That is why we have to work extremely hard to debunk all those lies and misinformation and empower people with the facts. But I told you before, they would always push against the development of the country, the transformation of the country, because they know if Grenada continues to transform and to develop and to build, there is no way they stand a chance of coming back, and they may lose the seats that they have, and it might be a 14-1 or a 13-2 next election. So they know. They want to see Grenada on its knees. They want bad things to befall this country. That is why they were upset that we hosted a very good Golden Jubilee Independence celebration. They're upset and they still vex it was successful. It was very, very successful. They have never seen people like that in Grenada. But here it is. When it comes to the invitational, a private thing, the same mouthpiece of the NNP, boasting and saying, well, during key time, government invested $2 million in the invitational. And they realized much more, 5 times more, 6 times more, because people came here and 60 million people viewed the thing, and all a private thing, private. But when we say that the government invested 50, I think it was 15 or 20 million, something wrong there. I think it's $15 million for the Golden Jubilee Independence celebrations, right? When we say that they invested that, and the amount of people who came here, that the government realized far more than what they invested. They say, nah, man. They say, nah, that didn't happen. That can't be so. The most among the people that came in Grenada in recent history is during that time, right? But here it is. They are still saying, no, well, they can't realize that. But because they want to blame government for the invitational, this sports meet, this private thing, Grenada Invitational, I think that's the name. Because they want to blame them for that, blame the government, then they say, well, under NNP, they invested $2 million in the thing, and they realize more, and a lot of people come to Grenada, and our athletes, they showcase this and showcase. They are not even going with what the individual who organized the thing say, They cannot attract private sponsors. They can't. But you see, if you run something good, right, you go and speak to some people who did stuff in the last invitational, and the stories they have to tell you about the same individual and about that invitational. You go and listen to them. So, at the end of the day, that's how the NNP goons and surrogates and so on will say things and do things. They want to make the NNP look good. They want to make the NDC look bad. Right? They want to make the NNP administration look good. They want to make the NDC administration look bad. So they would say all manner of things. But the facts need no defense. When you put the facts on the table, it is enough. It will take care of itself. And that is why I continue to do. Folks, we're out of time. I want to wish you all the best. I will be back with you tonight in the hub starting from 8 in the p.m.